All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of VGF Strat Corner podcast. I know that we got a lot of hate on the last podcast, so hopefully, I know our guest is ready with his notes and his booklets on this character. So hopefully, we can kind of feed your need for knowledge on this one. So we're doing Roger Jr. today. I have to admit that this is one of those characters that I have not really touched in T6, and I've kind of dabbled a little bit with every character. So most of what I know is just from T5. So I guess first step, let's introduce our guest. So Gio Rio. So you'll have to forgive me if it's like pronounced something crazy like Gio, Rio, or something like that. Everybody pronounces their handles differently. So
yeah, actually, that's actually my first initial and my last name, because I was very unoriginal when I made my Tekken Zaibatsu tag.
Oh, that would explain why you have numbers.
Yes, exactly. It was like my AIM name, my email, the whole shebang.
Yeah, nice, very nice.
Not much creativity.
Well, I always like to give a little background on our guests when they come on. So I guess we'll just kind of start there. So it's like, tell us when you got into Tekken. Who you usually play with, both character-wise as well as actual players, and like where you've been. What you've been doing, I guess, if you want to, what's your favorite Tekken, kind of your whole motivations. Kind of tell us who you are.
Great. So I'm kind of an older guy, so I've been playing Tekken since Tekken 1. That came out when I was in high school. So I've had a chance to play all of them. I didn't really play competitively till Tekken Tag, and when I did that, it was in college when I was down at SUNY Delhi, which is about an hour north of New York City. So I played a lot of that there. Played a lot of Tekken 5 in upstate New York is where I'm from, Syracuse. And I entered a lot of tournaments under Don Fry, so 5.0, DR, Tekken 6. Went to MLG Raleigh. A lot of local stuff, some New York City tournaments. Went out to Virginia for a tournament that I think Jaguar hosted. It was a really fun tournament, but Rain and Holman were at that one, so that was really cool to go to that one. And a couple NECs, things like that. But mostly Northeast. I got a couple kids, so I don't venture too far out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But mainly a Roger player.
Nice. So you haven't really moved around from Roger then, huh? You just kind of stuck with him?
Yeah, in Tekken 6, I played Gang Ryu before. I've always been a Gang Ryu player. And then in Tekken 6, he just didn't feel right, didn't feel comfortable with him. And I was kind of messing around, and it's actually funny, my daughter was downstairs like, Dad, you gotta try that kangaroo out. It looks pretty cool. And I said, well, okay, we'll see, So I picked him up. I knew he was good in DR. I knew he was, a top 10 character in DR. So I picked him up, and I was like, man, this guy still has some good stuff, and he's a lot of fun. So I ended up sticking with him, and I play a lot of casuals around here with guys like OFDP, Link Massacre before he moved, Funny Kid, Zero the Shadow, Polish Mafia, Damas, those guys.
Some of those guys that have already proven their goofy nature on this podcast.
Yeah, it's an interesting group of guys.
Yeah, needless to say. But I guess that's all you can expect from the New York crowd. You're gonna get a weird mesh.
Yeah, New York City's a little bit different than us. We're 4 hours north, but we're kind of an odd bunch, I guess. Is the room.
Nice. So do you? I guess this is probably a question that a lot of people out there are gonna have. So do you usually get in games with like Fab, GM, those really really high level guys, or do you usually not see them very often?
I've seen that. I played with them a couple times. Fab not as much. GM I played with. I can probably count 10 or so times I played with GM, like longer sets. We've been on New York City a lot, so I've had the guys up here. I think we had one tournament showing at the Sheridan where we had, I think just in my basement, we had guys like Bloodhawk, Fab, Block, Real Law, Bronson Tran, just guys like that. There's 10 of them sleeping in my basement playing.
Yeah, those are sessions that I think some people have wet dreams of. So.
Yeah. So we had those guys come over, and when they come up for a tournament here, so I've hosted them a couple times. And I've been down there a couple times, played them at NEC, things like that. Played a lot with Real Law. So yeah, we do run across the New York crew quite a bit.
Plenty of exposure.
Wish was more. Yeah. They're very good.
Yeah, I feel a little ashamed for T6, at least personally, because the time period where I did the most traveling was at the end of Tekken Tag and the T5 days, and that's when like I had my exposures to Japanese, Korean players and stuff, and I haven't like the current ring of those, you know, top-notch celebrity players. I haven't really had a lot of exposure to them. Like some of the U.S. players I have, you know, GM, Fab, you know, met those guys, played GM a couple times. But like all the Koreans, I haven't met. I don't even think I've seen any of them. Like maybe I saw them in a video and didn't realize it, but you know, like that's the closest I've gotten. So a little unfortunate for me, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. You know, hopefully Tag 2 will kind of resurrect things and get out there.
Yes, it's an enlightening experience playing them. They're really fun to play. I just played Rain and Home, man. Those are the only two that I got the chance to play sets with.
Well, you know, even then, even if it's just a couple people, I know at least personally from my experience, whenever when I got those opportunities to play Japanese and Korean players, you know, they have a very different mindset. Even from Koreans and Japanese players, they have very different play styles, very different ways in which they approach the game. So it's really interesting to play those guys and get these different perspectives. So it's something that you can't really undervalue, I think. So it's pretty fun.
Absolutely.
But on to what everybody is probably going to be listening to is for Roger Jr. So I already mentioned I only really know all the T5 stuff, and I played him a little bit in T5. So you know, most of, I'm sure what you're going to be telling us is going to be pretty brand new for me in T6. And, like, there's certain things that I know for sure are true. Like, forward 4-2 is still boss, you know. And he has sidestep 4, you know, tail sweep. Like, really, you know, stuff everybody knows. But the little nuance is the stuff that I'm just completely ignorant on. So hopefully,
yeah, that's totally fine, man. That's cool because there's the crazy Roger. You know, you always meet that one kind of crazy dude who plays Roger, and he's not very good, but he just a sidestep 4, down back 3, and you know, crazy stuff like that. But this is hopefully it's enlightening to see how good his moveset is. He has some incredible moves.
Well, yeah, and just like
that are just basic moves.
Yeah, and just looking at him, like from the little bit that I've seen, I mean, he looks like he's a strong character. Kind of like when we had the Wang podcast. You know, Wang I think is really underappreciated. I have actually messed with him a little bit in T6, but you know, like a lot of people just don't realize because there's not a lot of players out there that the character is as strong as they really are. So I guess we can just kind of jump into it wherever. Usually I ask like what strengths or weaknesses on, but it kind of sounded like you had a breakdown of like every category for the character. So I guess if there's like on your list of stuff, if there's like a good starting point that you can see, we might as well just jump right into that.
Yeah, I think we'll kind of hit different areas. I think the first spot to start with Roger is one of his big strengths is his pokes. And, you know, for people getting into Roger who have played against Roger, I mean, they might kind of feel like some of his moves have some really crazy properties that let him keep pressure all the time. And so starting with his pokes, I mean, right off the bat, 2-1 is probably one of the best strings in the game. It's a 10-frame high-mid string that's +6 on hit and 0 on block. So not many characters can say they got a 10-frame string with 0 on block.
If I remember correctly, that's the 2-1 string that he inherited from the Kings, right?
Correct, yeah. Yep. So incredible because, you know, when you do it with a King, it feels like your distance gets separated a lot. I mean, there's a pushback on it. With Roger, he kind of like sucks them in. I mean, when you do 2-1 and they block it, you're square in their face at 0, which is a great thing. So it's 10 frames, ends in a mid, and you're 0 or you're at +6 on hit. So a really incredible move that lets him start his offense. Another example is 1+2 is a high, but tracks both ways. It's 13 frames, +1 on block, +5 on hit. Another move, so you say you do 2-1, they're 0, they try sidestepping, you do 1+2. You know, you track them both ways. They don't have to guess which side to step on. It doesn't matter. They're getting hit by it. Plus, he jumps forward and stays in their face longer. So, I mean, just like I'm saying, we can keep on going over some pokes if you want. I mean, I got about 10, 12 good Roger moves that pretty much set up his games.
Yeah, might as well. I know, like, when you said poke, the first thing that popped into my mind, just because, like, it seems like all of the top-tier characters in this game have that one really good, really annoying low poke that it may not do an insane amount of damage, but it has good tracking, gives plus frames. It just kind of high crushes, whatever it might be. It's just it sets it up a lot. It makes you fear the low. And I know that at least in T6, I can't remember if he had this in T5. I don't think so, but he has that little punch, that little. It has super range. From what I remember, it tracks pretty well too. So
it's funny. It kind of, a lot of people I think it tracks a little bit better than it does. It used to track a lot better for me. And I don't know, and I kind of say that, the move obviously didn't change properties over time. But once people started realizing that sidestep wasn't that good in this game and sidewalk was the way to go, you can walk that really to either side pretty well. If you know what's coming, if you think a low's coming, or that's coming, you can walk that pretty easily and punish it because he has a huge whiff animation on it. But it's still, it's a -13. It's +3 and forces them to recover, while standing.
Which for some characters really is shitty because their while standing just plethora of moves is garbage. But
right. So I mean, if you're playing Kazuya, you don't want to use it too much. Give them that -13 launch. But it's still a good move. It keeps up pressure and it keeps you positive. Another great thing with Roger, you're down 2, say it's +3. His down forward 4 is a mid that's 12 frames. It's a mid that's 12 frames, and let's see, I believe it's +7 on hit and -4 on block. So there's no risk there. If they block it, you can still step or backdash, and if they get hit, they're at -7. So that's huge for you. I mean, say you're only +3 off a low, but you get a free down forward 4 if they try to do anything. Another thing that just keeps them, you really just want them to stop them from hitting buttons.
It's that lockdown.
It's that lockdown. Down forward 3, it's his homing move. It hits from about range 2. It tracks both ways. It's safe. And it's like, depending on where it hits, it gives you different pluses. If you look up the Japanese wiki, it says like +2 to +5. So depending on where you hit with it, if it's close or far away, it's a different property.
And that's the tail spin? Is that what that is?
Yeah,
okay.
He turns around, spins that tail around, tracks both ways, and it hits from very far away. Which, another tail move down 3+4. From long range, it's pretty good because it's -2 on hit. It's launch punishable, but most people can't reach it from that far. Not everybody has a long while-standing punisher like King. So, this move you can be backdashing. Say you're at range 2, you can mix him up with a mid and a low from back there, from, pretty far away with his down forward 3 and his down 3+4. And not many characters get that option, just because his tail hits from so far away. So it's a pretty solid move. Let's see here. Boom, everybody knows about sidestep 4. Sidestep 4 is...
Yeah, it's been in there since the characters.
Yeah, you don't use it too much anymore. It seems it's one of those moves that the more people play, the more they understand. They can kind of like see it and block it most of the time, even if they whiff a move, it takes a while to come out. One of his best moves, it's down forward 1, delay 2. It's mid-mid, it's 14 frames, and it's kind of funky. If you do down forward 1-2 with no delay, it's -10 and punishable. So you don't want to do that. If you do down forward 1, really long delay 2, it's not a natural combo. But if you do down forward 1, there's a slight delay. Down forward 1, slight delay 2. It's a natural combo that's +5 on hit.
And it's not the negative
what makes it
10,
so good,
or is it?
And it's not -10. It's safe.
Wow.
So I think it's -6. Yeah, -6. So why that's so good is if you do down forward 1, delay 2, you're +5 on hit. That's a 14 frame mid. That means they can't interrupt another down forward 1-2. So you can just keep that going because they're not going to be able to step to down forward 1 while they're at -5. So you do down forward 1, slight delay 2. Now you're +5. They can't interrupt another down forward 1, but you don't have to always finish with the 2. That's the great part about it. You can just do down forward 1. They're like, oh, maybe he's going to do the 2. And then maybe poke him low, throw him, do something different. And then sometimes when they think, oh my God, he's going to do something different, you just, finish with a delay 2. So it's a good way to freeze them into place because they never know if you're going to do that final 2.
Does the 2 have any special counter hit properties if they switch?
No, it doesn't, but that's the part that leaves you at +5.
Oh, gotcha.
So if it hits, you're at +5, and they really can't. There's things they can do. They can be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll try stepping or whatever, but if you hit them with the down forward 1, ability to keep them in place with that delay 2. And that's what makes it so great, because now they can't interrupt another down forward 1-2. They can't interrupt the 2-1. They can't interrupt a boatload of things. And if you hit them with a down forward 1, you can always go low or throw or do anything. And that really is a great move that freezes them, because they never know if you're going to finish that string. You don't have to finish that string. At some points, you get the matches where you do a down forward 1, hit them. You just wait, do another down forward 1. And then there's like, well, maybe he'll do 2 now. And you can just keep spamming down forward 1 in their face sometimes. And they'll get so just like, when is the 2 coming? When is this 2 coming? And then eventually at the end, boom, there's the 2. Or, oh my God, I'm going to tail sweep them. And they're like holding back, waiting for the 2. And they get tail swept, like, oh, that sucks. The next time you do down forward 1, like, okay, he's going to go low now this time. You hit him with the 2. And then you're at +5. And it just keeps on snowballing. And this was another great way of just when you're close to Roger and getting positive. And I'll talk about later, like the incredible part of Roger, if you stay +5, and a lot of these moves let you, when they finish on hit, are +5, the down forward 1 strategy just, comes into place. Really good move.
Yeah, because I would, unless you have some way of like crushing it or
yeah, which that's not
because it's a bit. So I presume that it's the 2 that you just can't step it. Like there's nothing you can do. Except
you can step it if you can step away from the 2 if you delay it too long. But if the hits, the 2 is coming. It's a natural combo, so you're kind of boned. You're kind of boned there. It tracks pretty well too, especially if you're good at stepping, or if you're good at setting up your moves and put a little slight side step before you throw it. So I'll keep on going with the moves. 1-2, delay 1, great move. The 1-2 is just jab strings, and he has you can delay the final 1. So if they block the 1-2, try to attack, you delay that last 1. That's a counter hit juggle right there. So another string that just keeps them in place, fearing that the delay 2 will come and counter hit them at the end.
And it does lead to a juggle?
It does, yeah. Yeah, it leads to pretty solid damage too. Maybe I think you're in the high 50s range with that juggle. But I got that written down. We'll talk about that later.
Because I know that's like a big king thing to do as well. Both of those strings that you just mentioned, the down forward 1-2 as well as the 1-2-1. And just playing with the timings and trying to get people to run into it. But it sounds like Roger has stronger versions, because I don't think either king can get juggles off of the Western one.
It's the same concept. You're right. Another guy we play with ZZY a lot, who's a great king player, and same thing. He loves to set that stuff up. And this gives him juggles. So he was complaining about that before too. He's like, why does the kangaroo have that?
When he stole it from a king. Yeah.
Exactly. Why are they giving Roger better versions of my moves? I'm not liking it.
Dude.
4-4-2, like you mentioned, it's still a good move. It's -12, but it does knock down. It gives a sick wall juggle if you hit it on a wall. It tracks pretty well, especially if you put a delay on it, on the final forward, or auto-correct it before you throw it. They won't step it too much. So it's a good move if, they're stepping at long range, moving around, moving a lot, and you want to close the gap and smack them, you can do that. While standing 3, delay 3, and while standing 3-3 at a crouch dash, or just, he puts his foot up and kind of slants it down. He had that in Tekken 5 too. If he delays it, he's 0 on block. So it's another way you could do it at wave dash. Get in on, create some pressure on him. As well, if you hit him with the first 3 and you feel the counter hit, you just delay that second 3 and you spank him on the ground and you get a juggle off it. So it's a nice way to come in. But if you just do while standing 3-3 with no delay, it's funny. If you hold the 3, he charges up the leg and he makes it a mid. But if you just do while standing 3-3 with no delay, you can duck the second 3 and launch him.
Oh, I did not realize that was high. Huh.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't leave any. Yeah,
because I do remember that move. You mentioned if you hold it, it's a more powerful version. I didn't realize that it actually went from being high to mid. I thought they were both mid.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that when the first time I played Roger 2, and then I thought that for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, that's bad. So that's just something to think about when you do use the move. You can just put the while standing 3 up there and let them wait, and if just confirm it. If you feel the counter hit, then bam, you finish it, do a juggle. Also, because if you delay it for too long too, they can interrupt it as well. If you charge up your super delay after they block the first while standing 3, they can jab you out or do something like that for counter hit.
I was always a fan of strings that have that option where it goes from high to mid, and it changes, if you hold it or whatever. Because, it creates I don't want to say it's necessarily a guessing game, but in a way it is. Because, nothing's guaranteed if they just block. But, like in this particular case, there are tons of players out there that will, instant wall while standing punish, and they know what moves are high and what aren't. And I always thought that was in favor of the aggressor, because you can play with that. It's like, oh, well, maybe I'm just going to stop, and now you're going to throw out your while standing 1-2 with Kazuya, and I'm going to launch you for it, or do a mid instead of the high, and just kind of mess with the timings and stuff on which versions you do. And some people think like we were talking about Lee, and he has like the 2-2-3 and last hits high and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I always thought that you could mess with those and play it's like I said, it's not like a strict mix-up per se, but if you know that your opponent has these kind of tendencies to instant while standing, you can play with that and try to get into their head a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, that's very true. And a lot of these moves with Roger, which are great about him, say the strings like down forward 1-2 or that string, or even like say like bob strings. I mean, you can just change things that so much about one string, play with one string so much, just to garner different reactions about people, which is really the power of delayed strings in Tekken. I think in Tekken 6, delayed strings are really good in this game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you just get the ability to, say the move's -2, but there's a follow-up. People don't want to attack a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's a guessing.
Yeah, I absolutely love those delay pokes, especially like whenever I play King or Roger or anybody. I love doing the down forward 1-2. That pretty much is my game. I'm just doing down forward 1-2 over and over and over again. And if I randomly hit it, oh, here's the giant swing.
Yeah. So I mean, those are just some a brief overview of some good Roger moves. There's obviously a lot more of them, and we can get into other ones later. I just wanted to give the person who's picking up Roger, like, okay, what's this guy about? This guy's about some really good, solid poking, good strings, good poking. Also, his stances, he has a stance, rock stance. It's back 1+2, or you can do 1-2, then back 1+2, and he'll go into rock stance. And it's kind of where he like picks his leg up like he's going to charge at somebody, like do a football style charge at him.
A little cartoon run at you thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good stance. He does that back 1-2, the inner rock stance. I mean, he's got 1+2, which binds people. That's the roll you see that binds people on the ground. He has a low from that stance, which is back 1+2, 3, and that low is safe. It's -6 and it's +5 on hit.
And I'm getting this +5 theme.
I'm getting it set up. I'm trying to work this +5 theme. I figure the game's almost over, and in Tech 2, Roger's frames have all changed, and he's not good. So we'll get it all on the table now.
Nice. Okay. So we have the first of the the +5 moves. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so rock stance. So once again, rock stance 3+4 is what butt slam he does, where he kind of slams his hide into the person. That's +4 on block. So it's +4 on block, and it knocks down on hit. So another good move. He's got another safe launcher out of that stance. It's rock 1+2, 1. It's not very good, though, even though it's safe, because it just has such a long startup. You can see him winding up to swing his fist. It just takes too long to connect. Fun part about rock stance now. I mean, rock 3+4 is really good, but the fun part about rock stance is the forward charge. So you just do rock stance, hit forward, and he runs at you. If you block it, it's +5 on block. And if you get hit by it, it knocks you down. So, another good move. I mean, you set it up after Oki, spike somebody or, hit somebody, run up, rock stance, charge at them. You got to, space it so they can't walk around it. And all of a sudden they tech and they get hit by it, and all of a sudden they just got up from getting knocked down and they're at -5 already. Because it's +5.
So when he does that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when he's in rocket stance, he automatically adjusts, right? So there's not really a huge tracking issue, or
there's not. Only if you do it from really far away. If you do it from really far away, say if you do a juggle that's I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits, and it was a 4-4-2, and then you go into rock stance, they can tech and walk around you. But if you do say 5 hits on a juggle, it makes a difference. And it was like Animal Godfist or something like that. Then you can dash forward and do rock, and you'll be able to auto-correct it with a little bit of practice. So no matter which way they attack, they'll have to block it. And that's where you want to be. So there's certain ways you can make it so they are forced to block it if they get up.
Gotcha. So it's range dependent, but so long as you're in that range, you don't have any problem.
Okay. Yeah, you can work with it to make it so they cannot sidewalk it. If they do back roll, though, you're quite screwed because you won't. If depending how you do it, some instances if you're close enough, you'll hit them if they back roll. Not a lot of time. A lot of time they can back roll and you'll whiff it, but not many people are back rolling.
No, yeah, not with the scary pickup options. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's a really good pickup options too for him. And then also another fun thing with him, if you do rocket stance, you hit down forward. He fakes a run and then he ducks, so he never hits you. He runs at you and then he just ducks right in your face.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's kind of like. Wait, okay, he's running at you, then he gets to you, he ducks, and then you throw them, you tail sweep them because they're expecting to hold back or something like that. You just start your 2-1s, you do while staying at 3-3 to try to counter hit them when they think they can jab you safely at that point. Things like that. So it's just something else that kind of a misdirection thing. You see Roger running at you all of a sudden, you think you're supposed to be holding back, he ducks, you think you're safe, you try to attack him, he hits you with a counter hit while staying at 3-3 or something like that.
While standing 3, does that go under highs or crush highs or anything? Does
yes.
it? Okay.
Yeah, it'll counter it on the way
Gotcha.
up, and then it'll give you you'll spike them back down and get the good juggle for it. So all right, next stance, Bob stance is back 3+4, and that's, that was it's a new stance, and one of his old moves from Tekken 5. I mean, remember that one where it's like forward 4-4 neutral 1, where he winds up his hands like he's gonna punch, he hits you. They made it a stance now, so it's back 3+4 to enter the stance, then 1. It's high, it's 7 on block. It's not very good to use outside of juggles. This stance isn't very good, the Bob stance, so I won't spend too much time on it. It's got some really corny moves.
Oh, okay.
There's not even... I've never even seen them used in a match, really, because the only thing you can do out of Bob, if you say they're teching or something like that, if you try to do that, Bob 1 to get plus on block, they can just duck, and you'll get launched. And he has other moves out rocket stance, which are mids that are plus on block. So there's really no reason to even go there and use it.
That would explain why I'm not really all that familiar with it.
Yeah. So when you see it in juggles, you'll see like the launch, and then he'll do like the Bob 1, the back 3+4 1, then while staying 3-3, and that's like a staple. But outside of juggles, you don't see that move. Then back, from back turn, he's got the launcher 3+4. And he's got a low down 3. Both are launch punishable, so nothing too fancy there. But just some more, shenanigans you can play with that. All right, so those are the stances.
All right.
You want to talk about this punch?
Next page. Yes, punishers.
I'm flipping my pants. You're absolutely right.
Let's do it.
Punishments. We'll talk about it at the end, but I mean, people say it's bad. I wouldn't agree with that. I'd say it's pretty average. Say -10, he gets 2-1, so that leaves you +6 and does 28 damage. If you're -12, you do forward 2-1, which is the same move as 2-1. All right, it looks exactly the same, but forward 2-1, if you hold it forward, it's 12 frames.
But I guess it gives you a
Plus
little bit more distance or something like that.
It gives you, and it does more damage for some reason. It does 32 damage instead of 28. So forward 2-1 is 12 frames. Same move properties like +6, but it does 32 damage. 2-1 is just 10 frames, +6 and does 28 damage. So just for hop kicks, you want to adjust it to that forward 2-1.
So let me ask this question real quick, because I know we were talking about this when we did the Kazuya podcast. In theory, on paper, his punishment is the best in the game, but he has kind of range issues. And I know, just in every Tekken that Roger has been in, he's always had range issues with his punches. Is that a big issue with him in T6? Is 2-1 always reliable at 10 frames? Obviously a hop kick is you're blocking it and the opponent is moving towards you, so you're not going to have a big range issue. But, there are certain moves that are -10 that some characters can punish, but others can't because of the range, because of the pushback.
Yeah, you'll get into that. You'll definitely get into that. They kind of address it at -12, 13, and higher. But at -10, if someone does something like it hits you at the tip and pushes you back, you'll know that you can't reach it. And then maybe you just do 1-2, maybe that'll reach it. If that doesn't reach it, then you're shit out of luck. You gotta.
Yeah, and I know.
You kind of gotta realize that from experience.
Gotcha. And I know you mentioned the 13 frames, and you mentioned earlier. I'm pretty sure 1 + 2 is 13 frames.
1 + 2 is 13 frames, and it's +5 on hit and does 28 damage. Usually what I like to do, and also 12 frames you can do down forward 4, which is +7 on hit, but does less damage than 2-1. So if something's out of the range of forward 2-1 at -12, you could do a down forward 4 for a longer range punish. So that's just something to keep in mind with your ranges. At 13 frames, 1+2 covers a lot of ground, so there's no range issue there. But if they're close and they're -13, you still do forward 2-1. It's 4 more damage, and it's a little bit more on hit. At 14 frames, you can do down forward 1-2. And every time I say down forward 1-2, I'm talking about down forward 1-2 with that little slight delay in it. And that'll be +5 and do 32 damage. So really, if they're further away, you can do down forward 1-2. If they're close, you can still do forward 2-1 at 14 frames. 15 frames, you got your hop kick, and you got forward 4-3, which is a launcher from longer range. So you can, I'm trying to think of a move that pushes you back that far. Say Marduk's down back 1+2. You could punch it with forward 4-3, which is a launcher, but your hop kick would whiff at that range.
So remind me, is that new to T6? Is that a new strain? Because for some reason I'm not like
4-4-3. I don't think. No, that's not new. I don't think so.
I'm not pulling up like any.
Yeah, it's when he does like 2 kicks. He throws his.
Oh, he turns around and he does little like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
So that move is a longer range launcher. So from that instance, they give you options at every. They give you options for longer range for punishment, but if you're in close, you want to rely on forward 2-1, just because it's easy, and if you're close range, it does the same amount of damage as everything else up to 14, and it's just so reliable. So that's nice and easy. So forward 2-1, but while standing, you got while standing 4 for -11. You got while standing 2-2 for -14. I can't think of too many -14 lows.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
And he's got the hop kick for 15, and he's got for -16 he has a long range launcher, full crouch down forward 2, which is it's a long range launcher. It's pretty good. You get good damage out of it in the 70s.
Is that
and it'll reach a long way.
Okay, so forgive me my ignorance. What does that look like again?
He kind of like lunges forward almost like King, and he uppercuts up.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's old school, right? That's been like
it's
like
school,
tap.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so you got that too. So and you have delayed hop kicks. He has delayed hop kick too. So really, I mean, his punishment is pretty average. You get plus everywhere. I mean, you get damage that's not the best, but it really with Roger, I mean, his punishment is tailored to the character. You want to be close at really positive frames. Yeah. So they give you a lot of moves that make sure that you can get plus and close all the time.
Sets up the rest of his game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like Asuka's punishment. Asuka's punishment is terrible. That's terrible punishment.
It's true.
I mean, he doesn't have a forward 2-4 to wall splash somebody at -12 or -13. That'd be nice, but if he had that, then he'd have really good punishment. But this is just average punishment. I think it meets what you need. It's not bad by any means. You can launch people at 15.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't consider it terrible. I would say it's pretty average. It gets the job done.
Yeah, and there's some characters that would kill for a 15-frame launcher.
Yeah, I just don't think it's like nothing's ever average in Tekken. It's always like that character's punishment is really good, and that character's punishment is really bad. There's no middle ground. You're either really good or you're terrible. So I would say this punishment is average. It's on par with what can be expected.
As long as it's not shitty. I guess that's the only thing that you're trying to avoid.
It's not shitty.
It's not the fucking worst. So
it could be a lot worse. You could just get a 1 at -10. But no, you're always +6. You're always +5, and that just, like I said, that goes with the theme. 1+2, 2-1, down forward 1-2, down forward 4. I'll leave you more than +5 or at +5.
Okay, so since we're talking about punishing, unless you had anything to add for block punishing, what about his whiff punishing? Like from the sounds of it, it's like we mentioned 4-4-2, but like the forward 4-3, since that has such killer range, and it's 16 frames, right? I think.
Yeah, I think it's either 15 or 16.
So I mean, it's really quick for a long range launcher. So I would have to imagine that his whiff punishing is really good.
Yeah, it's 16. Okay, it's 16 frames. His whiff punishing isn't bad. I mean, you always have the ability to do down forward 1-2, which it comes out. It's a 40 frame mid. Comes up pretty quick to catch him, if they whiff something that's not too meaty. And if it is, like it is a meaty whiff or something like that, you do have forward 4-3. Your hop kick does have, decent range. So it's not terrible. I mean, you're not launching everybody for everything, but you do have that hop kick. So if you're sidestepping somebody and they whiff, you got an easy launch. But if it's from, like a 2D perspective whiff where you're just, too far away, then you got to be quick with that forward 4-3 if you want to get it.
Well, the thing that I like about the forward 4-3, the forward 4 doesn't launch, I don't think, but I mean it's safe, right? So you can, I don't want to say that you can hit confirm it because it doesn't sound like you can, but I'm trying to think of what the term for it is, but you can sort of hit confirm it because you can tell because it's like you're in that situation. There's going to be a little bit of time between when you input the move and when it's going to hit them. You can kind of tell if they're going to whiff and it's going to hit.
Yeah.
So it's not hit confirmable per se, but it's sort of like people like to talk about the counter hit confirmable stuff. It's sort of like that where you can see if it's going to hit or not, and you can stop at the forward 4 since it's safe. So I guess that's I kind of like that over other characters who, if you do their whiff punish option, like let's say an Armor King, for instance, like if you do the shoulder and you fuck up, you're getting launched. So it's kind of
right. But, no, that makes sense, and it's one of those moves too where it has an ender. I mean, you do forward 4-3. Say you do the forward 4-3. I mean, that's -15. You can be launched, but if they try to launch you, you can follow up with a 2, and then that punch will come over and knock them down. So it's kind of like Julia's hop kick, where she can delay a little bit, and you got to kind of pick what you want to do. If you want to go for a big launch, or if you want to just take the poke. So usually, if once you show them that you can do that too, afterwards they'll take something easier. They won't go for the full launch after forward 4-3.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Julia, because that's actually a really good example. Because I know a lot of people claim that the way that they changed her hop kicks to that 3-hit string, that you can confirm it a little bit. So it makes it more dangerous because she can stop or mess with your timing so you can't get the appropriate punish.
Right, yeah, people do say that, and I usually just take the safe way out and 2-1.
Yeah. Well, good call, I guess.
yeah, well, it's 2-1. I'm at my +5. I've got my job.
Go the safe route. Well, Tekken has always been a safety-first kind of game, so if you can
for sure,
play the safe route, with the exception of, certain iterations of certain games where it was all launcher all the time, but...
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we got that kind of taken care of. So any other whiff punishing notes?
No, I mean long range. Say if you see them whiffing something and it's going to be high and you're ducking, you can always do full crouch down forward too. I've hit people when they try to do a magic 4 or something like that. I'll be crouch dashing in, I'll be ducking from say range 1.5, and they do a magic 4, and I just do full crouch down forward 2 to launch them. You can do stuff.
Is
like
that is that punishable at all, or is it?
It's -12.
Oh, okay, so it is a little bit, but not relative to what you'll get. It's not too bad.
Depends who you're playing.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Some characters, that's a big deal. so yeah, it's an option. You have that at your disposal. Plus, you always can, if you see them whiffing something, and it's high, but instead of waiting for the move to end, you could always do down 3+4, and that would hit them too. If you see a Brian kind of do forward 4-4 or something like that, just throwing a crazy example out there, it's coming to my mind quickly. You could do down 3+4, that low tail, and that would hit them. I forgot about that low tail. That down 3+4. If you're in crouch and you do that move, it does a lot more damage. It does 10 more damage.
Down 3+4.
Yeah, that low tail. If you do it, if you crouch first and then do down forward. So if you crouch and do down forward and then do 3+4, it'll do 10 more damage.
Doesn't it? That's one of the moves that I actually remember somebody saying a long time ago was pretty good. Doesn't it give him more frames too on block or on hit? I thought it did. It staggered a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a long time.
I don't know. I could be wrong about that. It's the animation, the recovery animation is the same, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But I know it definitely does. It does 9 more damage that way.
It still has that hella range, which is retarded.
Yeah, you got that crazy range, and a lot of times you can, if if you're backdashing and you see somebody, with a high or something like that, or say they whiff a hop kick from, far away, 'cause they're doing something stupid. I mean, you can do that from really far away and hit them, and get something, get your 24 damage.
Absolutely.
So, something's better than nothing, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't have the best thing. You don't have a bob headbutt, but you got some choices. Do you want to go into launchers before we hit the
Sure, might as well. We're talking about punishers, and inevitably launchers are part of the punishing game. So
yeah, a ton of launchers.
Good segue.
Yeah. All right. So your launchers, you have to get the normal hop kick. You have sidestep 4, which is, it's delay hop kick punishable. Down back 3 is a low tail sweep where he turns around and trips you. Another one that's delayed hop kick punishable, so very punishable. Up forward 1+2 is pretty linear. It's like the king double axe handle.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's +4 on block, so it's still pretty nice. You get +4 on block. You can be jabbed out of it, but there's ways to set that up on recovery, so you can hit that when they tech and things like that.
It's also really flashy if you jump lows doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty sweet.
Because that's the thing to do with the kings. It's like, oh, you're going to do a low? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, double axe handle, boom. And it gives a ton of damage, too. And I'll tell that. And 3-4, so you do like the, not 3+4, but the 3-4 quickly. He does like a somersault and lands back on the ground, and it'll crush lows. It's safe, it's -2, and it gives pretty meaty juggles in the 80 high 80, mid 80 range. So another safe one, very linear though. It's not something you just want to throw out randomly. It's something that if you think they're stick something out, you can take advantage of. It's a low, you can use it. Situational. Full crush down forward 2, which we talked about, is -12. Forward 4-3, like I said before, it's -15, but you can follow up with that 2 to, which is also launch punishable. But if you ever get in a situation where where you use it and it didn't work, you can kind of try to mitigate it by using that last 2. Back turn 3+4, that's launch punishable. And let's see, 3+4, which is just 3+4. He jumps over lows, another low, and when I'm with that low crushes, and you get a pretty good juggle off that too. That's -13.
3+4. Why am I? Is that just like a mid kick, like he jumps in the air?
He jumps in the air with both his feet,
slam
kind of
together, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of claps him on their head almost.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So and you got that one. Rock 1's a juggle. No, that's the not very useful. And I think Bob 2 is another juggle. Both of them not very useful. Just but they are there if someone comments about them. Wants to know why I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, if there's some sort of side bet going on where you have to hit somebody with it. It's there.
Right. Okay, so I guess that being said, I'll get into some staples for him maybe. Talk about some Oki, which is the fun part about Roger, I think. Easy juggles. Hop kick. You can just do rock 1, which is it's supposed to be bob 1. I wrote it down wrong. Back 3+4 1. Then you do an instant while standing 3, delay 3, and that binds. And you can follow up with Animal God Fist, which is forward, down, forward, forward, down, forward 1.
Yep. TGF just like for Ishima players.
That's right, yeah. So you can do that after the binder. Also, you can, instead of binding, after the bind, you can dash forward, do 1+2, forward 2. Animal God Fist does a little bit less damage than 1+2, forward 2, like 2-3 less damage, but gives better Oki. So his staple hop kick juggle is like 64. I remember the Clown posted some juggles in the Roger threads that were like 72 damage. But they're a little bit harder, and you can check them out if you want to check them out. They're on the Roger Jr. Tekken 6 threads. If you want something more challenging, these are the staples that I think you see a lot. But there are some better juggles.
The best of the best, cream of the crop. The ones that are going to be more reliable.
I haven't even seen them in a video. So honestly, all the Korean videos they do sometimes less juggles than this, depending on who you watch. But Lee Mario, who's my favorite Roger Jr. player, uses these juggles.
Yeah, I remember. It's actually been a while since I've hit up the. Oh damn it! Why can't I remember his name? The dude who lives over there puts up all the fucking videos. Or I have it saved somewhere. What's his?
Oh, SMP.
No. I cannot believe I'm blanking out on this. He puts up fucking regular shit. starts Maxi. I don't know why the
yeah.
fuck I was blanking out on that guy's name. He's been around forever. But anyway, yeah, when I used to look and watch it was like almost daily vids that he put up. I remember watching some of Lee Mario stuff, and I was really impressed. He's really fun to watch.
He's really fun, and he's super solid too, which is great about him. He's kind of like, he kind of showed me the Roger light. There's like Go Attack Roger, ABC Roger. Those who watch Tekken Crash, you were just like, I'm gonna do down back 3 and side step 4 and make you go crazy. And there's Lee Mario, who's like, I'm just gonna out solid you, and then I'm just gonna use these moves when you least expect it. You'll get hit by them all the time.
Didn't know an animal had solid frame traps. What's up?
I know, yeah, which is exactly. He plays those frames real well. There's some other staples. Up forward 1+2 double axe handle move. You can do that move. You can do up forward 1+2, 1+2, down forward 1+2 bind, animal god fist, or the 1+2 forward 2 finishers. You're getting 82, 85 damage there. Side step 4. If you ever hit it, you can do down forward 4, 1+2, down forward 1+2 bind to either one of the finishers, and you get 64, 66 damage around there. Just some ones we haven't talked about, some moves we haven't talked about. If you do that 1-2 counter hit 1 juggle I was telling you, the string earlier. So it's funny, like the 1-2 can't hit though. If you do 1-2-1 and all hits counter hit, you'll get like a counter hit string. Yeah. But if you do 1-2 on block and then 1 counter hits, then you get a juggle. And you can do, from that one, you can do down forward 4. I think I wrote that down wrong. Yeah, you can do down forward 4, 1+2, down forward 1+2, and animal god fist, and you're getting like I think low 60s damage. I didn't write it down. So alpha safe counter hit launcher string. So that's pretty nice there. His down forward too is a 15 frame counter hitting mid.
Yeah, that's the move that everybody I know whenever I talk about Roger and Tech and says that's the move that everybody like cries about or praises if you're playing Roger.
It's good. Yeah, it's hard to step. People, if you get set up really well and it's hard to step and it plays into the +5 thing. It's a 15 frame move. So if you're +5, +6 all the time,
there's a chance
and they're trying to
get counter
jabs. Yeah, or if say they're wave dashing in at you, that move has a pretty long range too. I mean, it will counter some people when they're coming in with something that's if there's wave dashing or if they're going with something that's too meaty on the way in, it'll counter hit them. You can do like a while standing 2. You do hit that. You can do instant while standing 2, forward 4, 3, 2 bind. 1+2 forward 2, and you're getting the 60s, high 60s damage there.
I think it's very comparable to Lars's down forward 2. Actually, I think I think that's 15 frames as well. If I remember.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I'm actually looking it up right now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I can give people correct information. Yeah, 15 frames. So I mean that's. And everybody loves to talk about how good Lars is. So, but I actually think I don't know how the tracking is on Lars's down forward 2, but I'm just looking at the frame data here. Rogers is -6 to -7 on block, and then +3, +4 on just regular hit, and then obviously the juggle and counter. Right. But looking at Lars is -9 on block, and then same situational hit and counter hit. So. I don't know. I would argue it's a little bit better with Roger and fast. And okay, never mind. Lars's does a little bit more damage, does 2 points more damage. But
yes, that's not. I mean, so you get in the mid 60s with the juggle there. I think I was doing 66 right now on my TV here. So that was like I said, safe mid launcher. It's 15 frames. Nothing to complain about. Counter hit while standing 3-3. So if you ever do the while standing 3-3 and you get that counter hit, you can go right into rock stance with the back 1+2, then do 1+2 again to bind them. And then when the bind finishes and you pop back while standing 4, and then you can tack on a down 3+4 after that. But I'm gonna tell you why you don't want to later in the section. Just some other fun juggles. He has a back 4 move where he kind of like turns behind and kicks him in the feet. Like does a slow spin around, kicks him in the feet. Not a very good move all the time, but if you say you put them down at the wall, and they're going to do a get up kick because you're doing like rock mix ups or something like that. They're okay. He's always going to do these rock mix ups, so I'm going to do a get up kick that'll beat some rock mix ups. You do back 4, it'll counter hit all get up kicks, no matter what. So it gives you a counter hit launcher. It's not a counter hit move usually, or it's not a launcher usually, but it's a counter hit launcher. So, and if you hit, it's like +5 anyway, so that's always fun. So, if you launch them, you get a crazy juggle. You get down back 3, 1+2. So you get low tail sweep, relaunches them in the air, 1+2, down forward 1+2, into Animal Godfist or something. You're talking about 70 damage there with that juggle.
It's pretty meaty for juggling low.
Yeah,
I mean, granted,
so, and
like you said, it's countering, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's still meaty.
Yeah, it's like one of those moves. It's you don't use it all the time, but if you feel like somebody is finally gonna do that get a kick just because you're pressuring them, and they're tired of getting rock rolled, or they're tired of you doing rock charges at them. They're tired of you running up and doing rock 3+4, stuff like that. You'll be surprised. They'll all of a sudden they'll be like pushing a button to get him away from you.
And and looking at the frame data, it doesn't really look like it's punishable. -12, so you're just gonna eat a ball standing, kick, unless you're Steve. But whatever.
Yeah. True. So that's another one. 3+4, you can do like a hop kick juggle off that bob. The bob one. I'm sorry, I meant 3-4, not 3+4. The 3-4, the somersault flip. You can do like a bob 1, 1+2 down forward, 1+2 juggle. You're getting in the 80s there. A lot of these juggles, I don't want to spend too much time on them because it's kind of like, you can just read them in threads. You can go to the Roger Jr. threads, and I think Paranoia made this awesome thread in there called the Roger Jr. Complete. T6BR Roger Jr. Complete. He lists every juggle that anybody's ever listed in the thread with damage on most of them. All the juggles that are good, and kind of knows the staplers, knows the harder ones, so you can kind of go in there and pick and choose for yourself if you're trying to play Roger.
Well, I remember back in the T5 days, we had a really, really nice juggle thread in for the law forums that had essentially every single possible juggle and variation, and it listed the damage, and it had everything organized based on damage and wall output and stuff like that. So I always thought those were really neat because if for some reason you're not good enough to even do regular staples, you still have this huge list of other shit that you can give a try. So
yeah, and you just want to pick and choose the ones you like. I mean, people have different preferences on them. I'm sorry, Mr. No made that thread, not Paranoia, but Paranoia did contribute. All right, so I mean, you can go there and see more juggles, a bunch of good ones, and I think I'd rather get into Oki than just keep listing off juggles.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on to the Oki thing, just because I think it's really relevant to talk about it before we get there, is the wall game. And I'm actually, at this point, I'm just more concerned about wall carry, because it sounds like, at least based on the stuff that you were, so, I mean, maybe I missed something, but it sounded like a lot of stuff ended with Animal Godfist and stuff like that. Does he have really good wall carry at all, or anything that blasts you across the screen?
He's got some options there, and it's good he brought it up because I forgot to write that down. So you have some different choices, and you have to gauge distances with Roger a lot. It's not as simple as some other characters. But say if you want a no bind, say you're in the temple, and you're in the middle of the temple stage, and you want a no bind, take him to the wall. You can do launch or up forward 4, 1, 1+2, then 1, 2, 3, the old DR juggle.
Yeah, gotcha.
And that'll carry them across the screen. And from there, you can do a crouch dash while standing 2-2 to bind them. Mm-hmm. Then you go into rock roll, the back 1+2, 1+2. You start rolling. And the second hit of the roll, you hit 3+4. And that cancels the roll into the kicks where he's on his back.
And just mass damage.
And then you do 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, 3-4. So once again, that's a good one. Another one, if you bind them, you can do forward, after the bind, forward 1+2, or forward 1+2, 2, where he does the 2 big punches. That'll send them flying across the screen. If you're too close, though, you won't recover from the move in time to hit them. But if they travel, say a couple character distances, then you have time to recover, run forward, and just go right into down back. I think down back 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, 3-4. All right. So that's another way to do it. Another option you can do is, what was I going to say? I forgot for some reason. Oh, you bind them, and if there's a distance where you're too far away to do a no bind juggle that we talked about earlier, but you're too close to do forward 1+2, 1+2. So what you do in that instance is you just bind them, you dash forward and do 1+2. It'll pick them up and hit them forward a little bit, and to recover quickly, so you can dash forward and actually do like forward 4-3-2 or something on the wall for a buttload of damage. Or you can, some characters, you can do bind, dash, 1+2, and you actually have time to run up and do either an instant while standing 1 or a bob 1, the back 3+4 1 into forward 4-3-2, and you get a lot of damage that way. So that's some options for the wall and wall carry.
So it sounds like it's okay. It's okay, it's not the worst, but it's no like wall or lead.
Experience is your best friend there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, when you play stages, you're like, okay, I can do this from here, this from here, this from here. That's no issue. But at first, it kind of feels, what do I do? Oh, I did the wrong one. Crap. So that's something. Yeah, I got a whole other wall section we can talk about later.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Oki, so I guess we can just kind of talk about open field Oki first and then go into the wall.
Yeah, cool. So I think the staple juggle I use for Roger is of Hop Kick Say is the Rock 1, while standing 3, delay 3, bind, Animal Godfist. And the reason I do that is because if you do Animal Godfist in a juggle and it's the 5th hit of the juggle, you're opened up to a whole awesome section of Oki. Where if you do it on the 6th hit, they're too far away and it won't all work. So, I mean, let's just say you do that, they lie there. If they lie there in any Roger juggle, if they ever talk about lying there, he can bind them on the ground by doing Rock 1+2, 1+2.
Yeah, that shit is retarded. I have seen that before, so you just get bounded again and you sit there.
And I can't remember who told me, it actually worked for me when I was playing Rain. Someone told me, I can't remember which top player, one of the really good top players told me, usually when people are trying to feel you out, they'll always lie on the ground and see what you do, because they're always thinking you're going to attack or something like that. Yeah, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he told me that, and it was like right around the time that I was playing him, and the first time I knocked him down, I did rock roll and bound him. And he was just like, whoa, what the hell? Can't believe you did that.
Yeah, I would say that's actually a pretty good assessment. I guess I've never really thought about that either, but most people do usually just sit there because they're scared of all the crazy tech traps you mentioned.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice because it's almost like they're sitting there going, okay, they're never going to hit me grounded, and they're going to show me what they want to do. They're going to show me what they're looking for, like the big thing right off the bat. Their sweet Oki setup right off the bat, which is usually on techers or while people with instant stand or something like that.
Which is really funny because we've actually talked about it many times on the podcast. That most of the time, like whenever you're feeling out an opponent, usually you want to treat them like a scrub at first. And then if you're not able to counteract that scrub stuff, then they kind of have some stuff that they know that they can exploit on you. But it's, kind of just like a testing phase. Like, okay, can I hit you with this really, really garbage stuff? Or do you know about it? So that's funny that he would kind of take that. That people tend to do that and just kind of sit there.
Yeah, it's I guess what I meant to say is like only good players would do that. Obviously the bad players, you just go for the the gold. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's your first option. If they lay there in any Roger juggle, if they lay there, you're rock rolling. But Rock 1+2, I call rock roll, and you're binding them into a while standing 4 juggle after the bind, which gives good Oki, but we'll talk about that. So Animal Godfist Oki, once again, 5th hit. If they lie there or they back roll, you can do a forward, hold the second forward 2, and it'll hit them grounded or hit them when they're back rolling. I think it's like 28 damage if they back roll. So that covers your back rollers, which aren't too many. Now there's harder ones you can like try dashing up and doing forward 4-3, but they're kind of hard to time. What I like about this one is if they stand up or tech, you can do the forward, see what they're doing, finish hitting the forward, do an instant while running 3, and that'll give you the false advantage of, plus 17 false advantage that they'll be forced to block. They won't be able to get out of the slash kick if they tech or they stand up.
So you have to remind me, is his slash kick, is it just a normal slash kick, or does he have a special one?
It's normal.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a normal running 3. You do instant running 3, it'll hit techers and if they stand. Plus, you can hit that first forward and see what's in the third line there. You know not to finish it, so you don't whiff it in their face. But the good part about it is it puts you back in their face, and they can't attack, and you can just start your offense over again. If they stand up, straight stand up, you can do down 4-3, which will hit them, and for a mini juggle, like down 4 1+2, down 3+4. So just a little, a little pick me up, give me juggle. Also, like those are just things that work on their reactions. But the great part about them is with all that stuff, you can do an Animal Guide Fist with that 5th hit. You get guaranteed damage if they lie down or back roll. If they tech roll, you have the option of going right into your rock charges. You can do dash forward and do an autocorrect for your rock charges. And they're forced to block them. They're forced to either take that, be at -5 when they tech, so they don't want to tech, or they're forced to, deal with you canceling the charge into like a down back 3 or something like that, throws, anything. So you're constantly, his juggles leave the person close enough with Animal God Fist that you can always be in their face. He closes that gap so quickly, and he's back at positive so fast that unless you just keep all the momentum, which is a big thing for me on this character. I mean, you don't want to be pushed away from the screen. A lot of juggles, you could always finish a juggle with like 4 1+2 1+2 or 4 1+2 2, knock them really far away and do some damage. But what good is it if you got to get back in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to be back in his face. You can also end the binder. You can do like a 1+2 after the bind, do down forward 1. That way they can't side roll. They got a choice of standing up, lying there, or back rolling. And if they lie there or back roll, you can just do while standing 3, delay 3 for a spike if they back roll and to hit them grounded if they lie there. If they stand up, you do the first 3 and, don't finish the 3. And if they stand up, then obviously you can open them up with lows. You get the down 2. You have your, down forward 1 if you think they're going to block low. If they lay there, you can do rock 1+2. So that's an option where you use down forward 1. If you want to put them in your face and get riskier, you can use down the 1+2 down forward 1 to spike them in your face. And then you can just, if you're feeling risky, you can go for tail sweep, stuff like that. Rock 1+2 if you think they're going to lay there. It limits their options because they can't tech out of it. And that's the same as if you're doing, when the game first came out, a lot of people were doing bind with Roger, then up 3+4, that big stomp. Yeah. So it's the same thing, but it does a little bit more damage. So it's the same thing. Stomp spikes them. They can't tech roll, so they're forced to either, lay there, slow roll on the ground, or, it limits their options. So you're able to be a little riskier there. But my favorite one out of all of them is bind, dash forward 1+2, and do down forward 4. If you do that, it gives you great Oki with back 4, which is this move where he kind of does almost like a flip in the air and lands his whole body on their foot. It kind of looks funny. It's hard to explain.
So it's like a jump low sort of deal.
It's a mid, but it's like it kind of looks like he's hitting their foot all the time. I don't know, but it's a mid. It's +4 on block, and I can't remember what it is on hit, but it's positive on hit. +4 on block, which is awesome. And if you do a juggle ending in after your last move is down forward 4, they lay there, they get hit with a grounded. If they stand up or tech, they're forced to block it. So it covers all those options right away. It won't miss no matter what. So you're at +4 in their face again. And if they back roll off down forward 4, you just wave dash in and pick them up while standing 3-3. So, and then once you pick them up while standing 3-3, they're spiked back down, or they're binded back down, and you put them right back into the same Oki situation again. You dash forward 1+2, do a different bind ender, and put them right back into the Oki with it. So they won't back roll. It'll be forced to block back 4. So, in summary, if you do Animal God Fist, most always they're going to stand up and take the running slash kick or rock charge, or down forward 4 if you finish with that, they'll take the back 4. So no matter what, you finish a juggle, you go for a riskier option if you feel like it, or you put yourself back at positive in their face and start your offense all over again. Which I feel is a big part of the character. I mean, they give you all the tools where if you catch somebody with Roger, you should be able to stay in until they make a good read or you make a mistake.
Nice.
So I think that's huge for the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personally. Another set of Oki options. This was a little bit different because if you do down back 3, then you do the rock roll, the rock 1+2 bind, and the while standing 4. You do the back 4 Oki all the same, so they get hit grounded if they stay grounded, or if they stand up or tech, they get hit by it. But if you do 2 quick crouch dashes into while standing 3, delay 3, you catch them in the back while they're standing up, so they can't block it. You put them back down the ground. You do another rock roll, and you do another rock roll in the while standing 4, and you're back in the same spot again.
Okay, wait. So let me make sure that I understand this. So you're doing the forgive me if my stances are messed up, but it's the rock roll 1 plus 2, and then while standing 4, and then if they just stand up, you do the wave dash while standing 4.
No, if they back roll,
which
so
it flips them over then at some point.
Yeah, because they're in the rock, they come up funny from the rock.
Okay.
They come up in kind of a different.
So at some point in the air, they flip over face down.
Yeah, so you do that, and it's really because after the down back 3, they turn around. Okay. Is what happens. They kind of they end up face up, head towards.
All right, that makes sense because I was like trying to picture it. I was like,
why the hell
would that hit back to? Yeah. Okay. So at some point they get like flipped and all screwy. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they get all messed up, and then you get then you can just. You hit him with that while standing 3-3 in the back. You rock roll him again, the while standing 4, and the whole situation just resets itself. And they're forced to make the same read. Okay, this time I'm definitely not gonna roll back. And then you get the free back 4. By free I mean they're forced to block it in one way or another. And so you're +4 in their face, and all those options they're safe. There's no risk to them, so you're not like running up and doing down back 3. If you can if you want, but. And you can always mix them up. Like you can instead of doing back 4, sometimes because you know that they're going to be standing there. I mean, you can run up and do down 2 or something like that just to keep it a little bit safer than doing a tail sweep, and start your offense from there, or even run up and throw him. I mean, he's got a great throw game. Giant swing and DDT.
Oh, dude, come on!
Most people can't do it.
You have to say my favorite ground. You have to say it's dudes to tombstone. It's all about the tombstone. Everything is about. If your character has a tombstone, that's what your game plan is.
He does have a tombstone.
That fucking grab is awesome. And I would hope that it's the same sort of tombstone it's always been, and it gives ridiculous wake ups because you're like stuck there forever after he slams.
Yeah, they recover. You get some good stuff. I mean, they end up, like I said, they end up head towards, face up. So you can if they pretty much. You can't really wake up how you want to out of tombstone because it's kind of screwy. So they end up rolling back. You can get them with a while standing 3-3s. If they stand up, you can do down forward 3. You can hit them low. And if they lay there, you can rock roll them. I mean, they're right in your face, and they're really open to whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and I guess I should.
You have so many options.
I should ask this question because they've slowly been tweaking the way that grabs work every game. So because it used to be like tombstone, like you just as the person performing the pizza delivery, like you always have a ton of frames, so like whoever you're doing the grab to, they kind of have to sit there. I mean, there's not a whole options that they have. Is that the same? Like, have they tweaked the frames for that to where you don't, as the aggressor, you don't really have that ridiculous advantage that you used to? Because that was the big problem with it, is like you got tons of damage and you got tons of frame advantage. So it was like just ridiculous. Yeah, is that the same way, or?
It feels like with Roger you don't have as much. I mean, you got to make a read. They do. I mean, you do have time, but I don't know. It's not an incredible amount of time. They can get them ways out of it. A lot of time with Roger, the best option when you're on the ground is always just to do a ground roll, because that way if he tries to rock roll you, you only take the first hit and it won't bind you, and you kind of mitigate damage that way.
So you have to feel satisfied with the ridiculous amounts of damage that you get off of the grab.
Yeah, so as you get the grab, and if they lay there, they can always just do that side roll, and it seems like it's a good option in this game, just period, a lot of the time. But it'll take care of a lot of Rogers' weight.
I just love the fact that you can say pizza delivery. And anytime that I can say pizza delivery with a move is happy times. So
his pro game's good, man. I mean, hey, 1 plus like DDT and giant swing. Good players can tell the difference. Most people can't.
Yeah. Well, and that's I always love DDT because it does a little bit more damage. I don't know exactly how his work, but like I know with at least Armor King, if you did a wake-up kick after the DDT, the low wake-up kick, the only option that they have is to roll away. Like, it's not fast. They don't have enough recovery to be able to block it, I don't think. So, like, you're kind of at a really awesome situation, because then if they start rolling away, then you stand up and start doing running games. But as far as Roger is concerned, like, I know that one of the big things with him was always range, and even though he had the same compilation of grabs that the Kings do, you know, the Kings have more range with their arms, so I would presume that's still the case.
Still the case. He's got puny arms.
But it sounds like with the Oki options that you're using, you know, you run up and you kind of fake the slash kick, and you have that opening where you're at 0 range, and you can just throw it around. So
right, with the rock charges, with the slash kick, with the back 4, they gave him moves where he can, you know, cover a lot of distance quickly and get in your face and be a plus. Which
is awesome, because that was his big problem. Like back in tag, is the only way he had to get in was wave dash. That was it. That was your only option. So
yeah, you're right, and you know, Kings have long arms, and you know it's better for throwing people obviously. But a lot of people always say that Roger's kind of annoying to break throws on because of his short arms.
Oh yeah, they're harder.
Like, you don't see him that well when he's on the player side. Absolutely. It's just kind of, he looks kind of funky. You know, he has this huge, like, you know, big ass king arms reaching across the screen, grabbing you. He got these like little arms, just, you know, kind of boop, reaching out and grabbing you. So maybe give some to take some. Yeah,
pirouettes with his fucking hand. It's so huge.
Yeah, break me please. You know, so it's kind of nice that, you know, that's a nice thing, I guess, for him.
Okay, cool.
You know, look at the high side.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to find the advantage somewhere. So we're talking about Oki, and we talked about Pizza's delivery a little bit, but how about his other grabs? I mean, everybody knows about Giant Swing, about the most Oki that you can get off of that is like a run game. But what about just like his normal 1 and 2 grabs? And I'm trying to think if he has any other. He has headbutt. He has headbutt. I know that. I don't know if he has any other special grabs.
He's got like the Frankensteiner. You know, he's got the Frankensteiner one flips over. He's got his one throw puts him really far away, and you know, there's not too many options there. I mean, you got to make a good read of what they're doing, and you can, you know, do a running 3 or something like that. But they don't have to take it by any means.
Like Oki.
Yeah, nothing there. His 2 throw, once again, puts him like 2 screens away, or two character distances away, about maybe 1.5. And it's just kind of, I mean, you can dash forward quickly twice and pick him up while staying 3-3 if they're getting up slow or back rolling or something like that. Otherwise, you know, there's just nothing incredible, you know, like Brian or anybody like that, or, you know, even, you know, some of Bob's throws.
Yeah. It seems to always be like, you know, the best characters in the game always have not only a lot of grabs, but they always have grabs that put you in really fucked up situations. It's just like no matter what you do, you're wrong.
Right. So, I mean, he's got the tombstone, but you know, he's got the tombstone which spikes him in front of you. So when you see someone spiked in front of you, you know their options are limited, and you know they're gonna, you know. So they either stand up or they back roll pretty much, or lay there. He has his quarter circle forward 1, which is a command throw. He kind of, it's almost like a pile driver almost, but he doesn't like sit down on it. It's almost like a reverse tombstone.
Oh, that's the start of the multi throw, right? Where you can go in.
Yeah,
but you can break it like really late.
Yeah, so his is just the one. I mean, he picks him up and slams him down. But once again, he spikes in front of him. But this time, they're feet towards, face up. So it's a little bit different than the DDT, than the tombstone. So a little bit different Oki there. But once again, I mean, with Roger, if you see someone on the ground and you're close to them and they're back rolling or lying there, you can always do while staying 3-3. If they're on the ground doing nothing all the time, you can rock roll them. And if you think they're going to slow roll and then get up, you kind of just crouch next to them or do something, you know, hang out next to them. And then when you think they're going to do something, do an instant while staying 3-3, and it'll pick them up and spike them. So it's more about, it's not really about guaranteed things with Roger as much as it is just reading what they're going to do and reacting to it. A lot of it can be reactionary with them. You can see they're going to back roll and wave dash in and pick them up, things like that. But once again, if they just sit there and it's like, okay, I'm going to slow roll and hang out here, or I'm going to stand up straight, you know, unless you want to get risky with like tail sweep or something like that, you're not getting anything incredible. But you know what? If they stand up in your face, you always can just do 2-1 or 1+2, and you're at positive or even with them.
All right.
And you got them back where you want them anyways.
Nice. All right. Well, then let's kind of move on. Take the next step. How about walls then? Like, does it? Because I imagine like the Oki plus grabs game. I mean, that's where it gets really dangerous since they can't go anywhere.
Yeah, the walls with Roger are fun. And when you get someone to a wall, you know he's got 10 frame counter strings just like Lee, which wall splat. He's got 4-4-2, which wall splats. He's got 4-4-4, which wall splats. He's got Rock 3+4, which wall splats. So he's got tons of plus frames and wall splatting mids. You know, what more can you ask for there? Plus he's got 10 frame natural counter hit combos at wall splat.
So what was that? Is that the 1-2-3? No, that's
1-2-3 and 1-2-2. 1-2-2. It's kind of like, I mean, you got to confirm the last counter hit too, because if you don't, they can duck it. It's not a natural combo. But 1-2-3 is a natural combo and will wall splat. But say with, you know, Raj, you take him to a wall or something like that, they're on the ground, and you basic mix up 1-2, go into rock stance. Now you're in rock stance. If you do rock stance 3, you hit them with a safe low, and you're at +5. If you do 3+4, it'll hit them if they're sidewalking. You know, if they're sidewalking, not blocking, it'll track them. And if they're blocking, just standing up, it's +4. So, you know, bam, they're right in your way. You either hit them with a +5 low, or they block and they're at and they're at -4. So you're plus in their face still. And that does great things for you because, I mean, say you're there, you can start throwing them. You know, if you want to put them back down, you can start poking them, pushing them with 2-1, doing a down 2 to get +3 frames, and then forcing them to make a bad move. And when they do make that one attack, you have the 10 frame natural counter hit combos that wall splat them. So, you know, I love to do this, you know, against people who don't already know Roger. You spike them on the ground, you backdash, they stand up. You do 1+2. So you jump in, you do 1+2. It tracks both ways. So their back's on the wall. They can't step you. All they can do is duck you. But not many people duck on the wall usually.
Well, and it's pretty quick to begin with. I mean, 13, you can't really duck 13 frames of reactions.
Yeah, so you got to be like ducking just because you want to duck. And, you know, I don't know many people who do that.
Not against the wall.
So you jump in, and then you're at +1. And then if you do, so you're at +1. And they're like, oh, well, you know, he just did a move and I blocked it, so how negative can I really be? You do 1-2-3, bam. They natural counter combo, they're into the wall. And they're wall splatted. So, as anything that wall splatted Roger, next to the wall, like a string like that, 4-4-2, back 3+4, 1-2-3, you can sidestep left after they splat, and let them fall off the wall a little bit. You do up forward 3-3, the helicopter kicks, and it kind of kicks them back up into the wall. So you haven't used your bind yet. You did your counter combo, they hit the wall, they fall off the wall, you sidestep left and do up forward 3-3, that picks them up when they're falling off, puts them back into the wall, then you bind them and do your bind ender, which ends up sometimes being, I think I wrote it down here, it's like 100, it gets to be like 100-something damage with all that.
That's pretty beefy.
Oh yeah, so if you do 1-2-3, the counter at 1-2-3, to the up forward 3-3, a bind ender, you know, down forward 1+2, or a binder down forward 1+2, or wall stand 2-2, into the rock 1+2, cancel 3-4, 3-4, 3-4. That's 120 to 124 damage.
That's really fucking beefy.
So then they don't want to attack. I mean, the last thing they want to do, they don't want to attack. They're just like, oh god, it's a freaking 10 frame move and it wall splats. You know, that's annoying. So they start stepping. When they start stepping, you can track them. You can try to catch them stepping with 4-4-2. Do that same combo. That's 75 to 81 damage around there, depending on what, you know, binders and bind ender you do. So, you know, there's that. So, I mean, how good is that? Plus, you have all these mids, which you can do. You run up, do your rock 3+4. You can backdash. If they attack, use whiff punish with 4-4-2 or 4-4-4, and you put them back into the wall for a wall splat. So he's got a ton of options to wall splat you, and he's got tons of moves which are plus on block to just keep the pressure up on the wall. I mean, you can just keep on going into rock stance 4, or I'm sorry, rock stance 3. Now you're at +5 to safe low. Okay, now what are they going to do? Are they going to sidestep? Are they going to stand again? And you get them in a situation, if you make them fear the 10 frame counter hit moves, or even his down forward 2 or something like that, where you're constantly at +4, you're constantly at +5, their back's on the wall, you have tons of wall splitting mids, you're doing 120 damage with your combos there. They don't want to do much. which really lends you just to be able to be like, wow, I got all these mids. Hey, maybe I'll tail sweep them when their back's on the wall because they're not ducking. There's too many wall splitting mids. They're not ducking. So you do that, and now they're worried about that. It's like, oh man, this guy just tail swept me. Now what do I do? You know, you pick up 50 damage there from the tail sweep combo at the wall. You put it back into the same exact situation, and you know, and then you know you're back to it. Wall splitting mids, and
then you
poke them
pizza
low.
delivery, and it's lots of damage.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Still in the wall.
You still do that, and it's great because you know you keep that pressure up. The rock 3+4, the rock 3, you know the 1+2s, the 2-1s. You're doing all this. The wall splitting mids, they're pretty much giving you every down 2 at the wall for free. They're like, why would they want to duck for a down 2 when the risk of getting wall splitting mid again is too great? So then you're hitting them with down 2s, just picking up that damage, and this -13, so they do block it, no big deal most of the time.
Yeah.
And then you start taking that free damage that way, because eventually they're just going to hold back, or they're going to try to walk. And they're not going to attack. They're going to either hold back or they're going to walk. And that's when you start picking up the down 2s, and the damage starts just accumulating at that point.
So,
I
do have one question. Is there a reason that you would do forward 4 and not forward 2? Because, I mean, based on what I know about both moves, because, forward 2 is just a carryover from T5. And then forward 4, he's had forever. But from what I know, forward 2 is less punishable. Does more damage, and I think they're the same speed, if I remember. Yes, it says they're both 16, so...
One big difference is the range of forward 4, which, from a close distance, the pushback pushes Roger so far away that they don't get a punish most of the time. Most characters can't punish it if their back's on the wall. That'd be
just gotta watch for, shoulder characters and shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean... So if you're doing 4-4-2 and you whiff it, or if they block it, you're always close to them at the wall, because when you're doing 4-4-2 in open ground, you're doing it so the tip hits, and so when a tip hits, it's a long-range 12-frame punch. Not everybody can get something there. When you're at the wall and you do 4-4-4, it'll kind of knock Roger back from the wall, and most characters can't do anything about it. So it almost becomes like it's more punishable, but they can't really do anything.
Yeah, I know there's actually quite a few moves out there where it normally doesn't have a lot of pushback on block, but for whatever reason, when you're right next to the wall, it just blasts both of you away. So they stay in the wall.
Right. So it's just something that you pick up, but so that's just another example of wall splitting mid. It ends up pushing back, so against a lot of characters, it's totally fine to use. And when you finish your wall combos though with Roger, if you do the rock roll, you do the 3-4, 3-4, 3-4. After you do the rock roll, if you hold back, he'll actually do a somersault backwards to give himself more room to set up his game. Which is kind of, you can mix it up with just standing there, but I like to hold back. He back rolls, and then you can kind of go back in to do what you want to do. I forgot to mention that earlier. A little nuance.
It's a little something to remember. Yeah,
little something.
That space can be really important because. It's just another mind game, essentially. Because, even though he's so good at getting the plus frames up close, now all of a sudden you're at 2 character lengths away and you think you're safe, but he still has the 4-4-2 and other stuff.
That's where you get him with the 4-4-2 and the 4-4-4. You hit him with that, you back roll, they start sidewalking. If you can do that, or you can even do a down 4-3, the homing move, and that'll hit them, and they'll be like, oh, what the hell? So they can't even walk away from that. That homing move will tracks well as plus, and it's safe. And it hits from really far away too. So it's a great move after that situation. It gives you so much space for that situation that they usually won't be doing like a counter hit, a counter hit move like that. So that's the wall game. But I don't know, you just want to hit the basic strategy with them.
Sure. Well, I do have a couple of questions. Sure. Because we're going over all of this stuff, and I'm trying to think of possible weaknesses for the character. We already mentioned his arms are really shitty tiny, but with the exception of that, usually we talk about panic buttons, and at least when Dan was co-hosting the podcast with me, we always maintain that in order to be a top tier character, you have to have a magic 4 or something similar. And he has the 1-2-3, which is really nice.
Yes.
At 10 frames. But in the open field, it doesn't. I mean, it sets up some okie, but it's not like just the ridiculous amounts of shit that a counter hit 4 will give you.
Right.
So, and I know he has down forward 2 as a counter hit option, and then obviously he has hop kick. But does he have any other really scary, like, counter hit panic button moves like that, with the exception of 1, 2, 3?
Well, I wouldn't use 1, 2, 3 in that situation. I only use 1, 2, 3 at the wall if you're hunting for that counter hit splat. If you were, I'd use 1, 2, 1 there. If 1, 2, 1 is a 10 frame natural counter hit combo, and this is just the 1, 2, and the 1 all hit counter hit. It'll all be natural hit counter hit combo, and it'll leave you plus in their face, and it's safe. It's not -9 like 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit less minus. I think it's like -6 or something like that. So you can use that. Down forward 4 I like a lot because it's a 12 frame mid. So when you see people coming in on you wave dashing or something like that, and you want to stop her. Like down forward 4 is the mid stopper. That's the move you use when they're in your face and you need a mid. You go there. If you want a high, if you can live with a high, you have 2-1 and you have 1, 2-1, and you have. His Magic Force sucks. Roger's Magic Force is
it is.
It's like 13 frames. It hangs out there for eternity, and you don't really get a bind juggle off it. So,
but I mean, the reason that I bring it up is because, like, if you were playing Roger and you have your back against the wall, like with the exception of 1, 2, the 1, 2 string, which is really good, but it's not going to yield, 70 plus damage that some characters can do, or God forbid you're playing like Nina and she actually gets you to the wall with a fucking magic sword.
God, yeah.
And you're probably taking 80s, 90s, which is dumb. But with the exception of like that, like it doesn't sound like he has a whole lot of scariness to him because he has some high crushes. Like, the down 2 is a high crush. I think down 4-2 crushes a little bit, but it doesn't.
It does.
Oh, okay.
No, it definitely does.
But it's more like meant to contain jabs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's 15 frames.
Yeah.
So when I think panic button, I think a little bit. I'm thinking like 11 to maybe 12, 13 frames.
But and like even like down 2, it's the only thing I can think of that would be like really quick that would yield. That's a low that would go under stuff. But even then, it doesn't really do a whole lot on counter hits. So. You're not getting. So it's like when I'm thinking about that, it sounds like that's kind of a drawback. Like his panic buttons are average at best.
They are average at best. I would say that's kind of the situation where sidestep 4 comes in. Like you want to use sidestep 4 enough so they don't want to be mindless pressure. So, and that's to say they Nina takes steel wall. And I've had the pleasure. We have a good Nina player here, Polish Mafia. She's doing all the instant wall standing ones, all that crap. Takes it to the wall. If she wants to keep going and things like that, that's good and all. She can keep doing it. But if they get too overzealous, and they're hitting buttons, you hear that stick going, that's the time for sidestep 4. You look for sidestep 4 there because that's the time it's going to counter hit. They won't have a chance to block it. If you do that once, you get a big juggle off it. Well, not big, but 65 damage off it. You get good okie from it, and now they're like, it's kind of like Nina's sidestep 2. You get hit with it a couple times, and
that's all.
You kind of start thinking about what you're doing a little bit, and you're like, granted, his isn't -12, but it's something that, you use it just enough where people are like, I got to stop now, it's got to be coming, and hopefully it never comes. Hopefully you put it in their head, it's coming eventually. And you just wait for that moment, and maybe use it once in a match, and that's probably good. And when you use it once in a match, it's probably going to hit. And you use it when you need it, and that's the time where you probably need it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
well, that was really. I was curious about that. If he had anything sneaky that I didn't know.
Yeah, nothing really. I mean, not nothing really. His strength lies on the offensive side of the game, pretty much.
Okay.
But yeah, he does.
Well, I guess you mentioned. Why don't we talk strategy? Well, I guess let me throw this question out to you because, like me personally, I always use frame advantage to set up grabs, like always, like 100%. Like if I have positive frames, I'm either going to do a big mid or I'm going to grab you. But it sounds like from the way that you were forming, the structure of all his pokes and anything, everything in the way that you were describing it. It kind of sounds like you play him, and I don't know if this is if this applies to Roger or if you were just speaking for your play style, but it kind of sounded like you were using the plus frames to go into more plus frames and just keep a plus frame ball rolling. Is that like typical, or does it vary between Roger players, or how does that work?
That's where like the theory on Roger kind of hits him like a crazy turn. When I first started playing him, I was having a lot of success with him because I was doing crazy stuff. I was doing down back 3 a lot. I was doing side step 4 a lot. And people were just like, oh, wow, this guy's got some crazy stuff. But then eventually, people evolve, and the people you're playing get used to it. And they just, like, shut you down. And then you like, turn to the next phase of the game. You're like, okay, side step 4 and now back 3 are going to get me through life in Tekken. So you start looking at his other pokes and things like that. And in our community, we have players who break throws constantly. They're very, very hard.
Well, yeah, that's what I hear from New York. So it's all about throw.
I mean, OFDP holds back like it's his damn job. And he will just hold back and say, okay, I'm holding back. I'll break every one of your throws. I don't care. And then when you're open, I'll hit you. And he has no problem holding back the whole damn time. And I'll do 2-1 18 times and do 1+2 and do 10 throws. He'll break all 10 and we'll be, nothing will happen until you down back ones me with Jack and then lead something. So that's where I kind of learned to play Roger, is more like Lee Mario was playing him, and less like ABC and those guys are playing him, which they obviously are a lot better than me, but they play him a little bit crazier. I kind of lean to the solid side of Roger. I think he's got a lot of solid tools, and I think you can take Roger, put pressure on people with 2-1, down forward 1 delay 2, 1+2, down 2, the low tail from screens away, his rock charges, his positive moves, and you can eventually force them to make mistakes and duck. And when you use the constant plus frame moves, you're poking with down 2, you're poking with down forward 4, I mean, you're going to pick up the damage that way. And by constantly being at positive frames, people are eventually feel like they have to attack. Like, I got to attack now. I have no choice. I have to attack now.
It's simple.
And then that's when you start sidestepping and launching them. Sidestep up forward 4 or something like that. Or you backdash and you do down forward 2. I say you do 2-1, you backdash, you're like, okay, finally he's off me, I'm going to do something. You use those little bit of crush properties for down forward 2, and you counter hit them there. You do down 2, or you do 2-1, and they're like, I can walk him now, You do 1+2. And that stuff starts hitting and hitting more and more as they constantly feel like they have to hit buttons. And then when you get that big launch, his damage isn't the best from launch. I mean, I know there's some combos that, are low 70s for like a hop kick, but hop kick juggle, he's mid 60s. That's got to be below average.
I would say it probably is, but
so you're below average.
But it doesn't matter. I would say that it's. You look at Law, for instance. Law doesn't have. He's doing 60s for his hop kick, but he's almost unanimously a top tier character. So.
Right. So you're doing that. But then you're getting good oak situations off of that. And it just allows you stay on somebody, you put the pressure on them, they start hitting the jab button, and that's when you start looking for the sidestep response. You sidestep response, you start counter hitting them at that point. You can use your throws to mix them up. And while you're doing all this and staying positive, their back is slowly moving to the wall. So the screen's going in your favor, the spacing's going in your favor. That's kind of how I like to play them. It's the pressure with pokes a lot. People don't like to hold back all the time. They really feel like they need a sidewalk or do something. So when you're doing 2-1 with Roger, I'm always looking for what they're doing. I get in, try to get in with either, crouch dashing in, while saying 4, while saying 3, something, slash kick, something to get in. And when you're in, you do the 2-1 and you see what they're doing. Okay, what's this guy doing? He's constantly sidewalking. Well, 1+2 tracks you both ways. You're going to get hit by it. Oh, he wants to duck after to duck the well stand. If he wants to duck to go below the 1+2, he's opening himself up to a ton of mids. And if he wants to sit there and just keep blocking and hold me back, then you can start picking up the down 2s. You can start really testing his throw break game with the 1+ the DDT and the giant throw or giant swing. So that's how I like to set up my game with Roger, is really, get positive and see what they like to do, see what their response is. If they like to throw with the magic 4s because they're like, oh man, I need something that's quick, get off me, you can respond to Magic 4s. Not all of them track very well, and they all can be ducked and launched.
Yeah.
And what you'll find with Roger is when you're doing 2-1 and you're staying positive, not a lot of people respond with mids. So you can do 2-1, you can do 1+2, you can do rock 3+4, and duck, because people aren't doing mids. They're jabbing or doing Magic 4.
The one thing that I always liked about Roger is the tailspin and down back 3, and to some extent sidestep 4 as well. But I always thought that it gave that characters that have low launchers like that are relatively quick, that it always gave them a little bit of an edge when cracking turtles, because you always have to. Because there's some characters that just don't have that option. Like if you look at even top tier characters that don't have that option. Like if you look at Law, Law has down back 4/4, but relatively speaking, it's kind of slow. If you even have really any sort of experience against Law, you can see that on reaction. So it's not like a huge threat, and he gets a mini juggle. It's not like he gets a full bound juggle. So and even though down back 3 with Roger, it doesn't have the best range. You mentioned all these plus range setups, and 2-1 if it hits, it tends to suck in as opposed to pushing away. So I think a lot of those plus range moves complement that in a way. I always thought that was really awesome. And you look at like Armor King, for instance. I'm an Armor King player, and one of my biggest pet peeves is that he doesn't have the best lows in the game. And he has some good lows, but he's really missing that low that you have to fear. And he has all the same stuff that Roger has. He has some. Roger actually has better like mid pokes and stuff, but he has the 2-1, the 1-2-1, and kind of sets you up. And he has all those good grabs, and same with King as well. But it's that like even if you get in that situation, it's either there are only two options: are grab or I'm going to hit you with a big mid. And and for like King, you can do a hop kick or the 1+2 string or down forward 2-1, whatever it is. But it's like that you don't have that low option, so there's not an additional incentive to duck, so to speak, because you still have an out. Even if you don't duck, you can still break the grab. But you don't have that option if you have a low juggler. You have to block the low. It's either crush it or block it. You can't just sit there. So
absolutely. And that's kind of like the best. So it's where I'm going with this whole thing. Is like I got that line down here. It's just go crazy enough to get people to block low, and that's what Roger has. You have the ability to stay positive. You're using all these mids, and then you go for the tail sweep. You hit it once, they're like, okay. If you hit it twice, now they're like, what the hell? I have to block that tail sweep. They can't see it coming. It's not seeable.
And it feels so scrubby, too.
That's debatable.
It feels so scrubby.
Yeah.
You get hit by it, you're like, there's no fucking way I just ate that move. It's so stupid.
Right.
There's no way.
So now you want to block low. And if you start blocking low against Roger, you're going to be eating mids all day. There's so many of them. You're just going to be eating all these mids that are +5, +6, +7. And you're never going to get them off you. And then when people do they get, okay, I got them off. I'm going to go. Now it's my turn. I'm going to go. They get hit with a sidestep 4. Now they're double thinking their offense or doing a string and stopping at positive because, okay, now he's going to do sidestep 4. I'm going to stop at positive. And, then all of a sudden, now it's your turn. You do 2-1 or you do 1+2, and now it's back in your court where you want it. So you want to use those moves enough to make people to make people block low, to respect them. And once they start respecting the lows, it really becomes in your favor with the amount of mids he has, down forward 1-2, even down forward 4, down forward 2, all that stuff. It really goes in his favor. There's I remember I went to one tournament, it was a local Rambit here, and I was just having fun, and I'm like, today I'm playing a good player up here. I'm gonna do down back 3 because he plays me a lot, so he knows I don't throw him out all the time. I did down back 3 and I did sidestep 4 a ton in our first match. A ton. I did them all the time. And he's just like, well, what the hell? I kept getting hit by him, and then we started blocking him. But in matches 2 and 3 after that, I didn't use him at all. And the mental effect was still there. He was still ducking and getting hit by all these mids because he was like, well, he's using them a lot today. Wait, where are they? They're not coming yet. What the hell? I need to block low. So, I need to keep blocking low. They're going to come now. It's got to come now. And you just pick them apart with those pokes. You're staying on top of them. You're pushing them against the wall. You're getting the big damage against the wall. things like that are just, you can really turn the match in your favor because Roger has those low threats to make people want to duck. You got to make them respect them enough. But, if you get them blocked, they'll get them blocked at a bad time because you're going for a ride.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So let's kind of talk about the other end of the spectrum. Let's say that you're a player who plays against a Roger Jr. a lot, and you don't really, you're getting just crushed every fucking time you go up against this character. So, we mentioned the shortened arms, his panic buttons. I mean, he has some stuff there, sidestep 4. He has the 1-2 string, and we didn't mention it, but he does have down 1, neutral 2, which is mediocre at least for him.
Yeah.
But, it's there. So he kind of has okay options. It's not the best, but, could be better. But what kind of matchups are really bad for him? Or I guess more generally, like, what sorts of things does he have to worry about?
I think it's something like a bad matchup. Right off the top of my head, Lee, I hate playing Lee. He is a good Mustang. He has a good Magic 4. Say Lee and Nina. Good Magic 4s, and they have good keep off me stuff. And Lee's got 10 frame counter hit moves. Nina has sidestep 2, and does a lot more damage than Roger, both of them. So those are the two characters right away. They got good pokes. They have good stuff to keep me off of them. A good Magic 4 goes a long way against a Roger player, and a good backdash. Players who get 2-1, they get the 1+2, and they're like, okay, now's not a good time to attack. I'm just gonna backdash out of here, and they backdash right out of there, and make you keep chasing them. And then then they'll start backdashing. You'll start coming at them. Then they'll go for that counter hit. Stuff like that. So that's kind of the way to play Roger. You don't want to really go toe to toe with them in your face if you don't have something like a 10 frame counter hit move or something like that, Magic 4, something to get him off of you. I mean, you need to figure out what your stopper is, with something what your panic button is, and use your backdash, to get out of there. His tracking's pretty good. I mean, if you play good Rider with 1+2 and put little side steps in between your 2-1s that you're doing, he can track really well. So he's not the easiest guy to sidestep.
Well, and the mid tail sweep, that's silly.
That thing's nice. Yeah, that thing's nice so that does a good range. But I mean, you can step around. All of his lows can be walked. Down back 3 can be walked all the way around. Down 2 could be walked. What was that? What was the other one? And that's your 2 main pokes right there. And down 3+4 can be walked, but you're not doing it up close anyways. So so you can walk around his lows, and you just need to figure out what your panic buttons are and have good movement. If you have good movement, you control space well, you backdash well, you can keep him at bay, with a jab or whatever, then, it's in your favor. I mean, guys like Bob, they're kind of annoying to play against with Roger. Those long arms are really just, they're trying at times. And there's characters like Jack who, it's a funny match. It's a matchup where he's got long arms and really annoying stuff from long range to keep me at bay, but when I get in, I'm okay. I feel fine. It's in my favor. He's got a bad sidestep, so I can I can start abusing the match my way.
It sounds like Elisa would be a really shitty matchup too.
Yeah, I don't like matchups against characters. Like, she's got a really good backdash, and she's got crazy stuff that comes with his.
She inherited Brian's down back 3, which is so fucking annoying.
Yeah, so I mean, she's just got some crazy stuff that can come up and crush a lot of Roger, like crush a 2-1 and beat that stuff. Crush a down forward one, because the down forward one is kind of funny. It's not like Armor King's down forward one. I mean, it's a down forward one that comes like over his head like a big looping punch. So you can kind of crush him because it comes from the top, not the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like the bottom of the screen, not the top of the screen. So that's another thing that you can, Lars a port 3 or something like that can pop him out. So your panic moves, things like that. You kind of want to do what Roger wants to do to you. Roger wants you to respect his lows, so you stop attacking. When you're playing Nina, you want to make sure you're stopping your attack because she's got sidestep 2 sometimes. You don't want to get hit by it. So you need to just, play it cool, play it calm, backdash a lot, use your movement, and, realize that, hey, I'm at minus, but you know what? When I'm at minus, I just need to break throws and look for that possible low attempt. The big low that could swing the whole match. I mean, Roger can be poking you all day, but if you block that 1 down back 3, all that work is for naught.
Yeah, that was always the big problem with having a character that that is relatively safe, like Roger, because he's all about plus frames. And I mean, you can, in certain situations, you can go for the big damage, and get, at the wall. You gave some examples of, 100 plus stuff. But for the most part, like let's say you're on a wall-less stage, you're just going to be taking away and just kind of staying in the plus safe mode, the plus frames, and so that you're not really in a lot of danger, but all of a sudden you happen to take that chance, and all that work you just put in is gone. Whereas there's some, there's a lot of top tier characters that they can do both at the same time, and get lots of beefy damage from their safe stupid shit. So,
right. Which is, so I mean, like I said, you can really change one match by finding that one low, but at the same time, a good Roger won't show you when it's coming. Plus, with the Oki, he's got good Oki options. So you need to, just watch what he's doing, watch what he likes to do, and mix up your responses to 2-1. Don't always answer the same way, or you're asking for trouble.
Well, with the sounds of it, it sounds like you, at least for Roger, that you probably don't need to use down back 3 very much. Just stay with the safe low pokes and just kind of keep that safe net.
Yeah, I don't like to use them too much. I mean, it's like one of those that you use them, just enough to get people to not want
get you thinking a little bit.
Take those mids, like those, they're rationalizing taking mids instead. You want to abuse that. He's got really good mids, and you just want to use those pokes just to get people to, get the responses you want. When you do 2-1 Roger, you do down forward 1-2. You really want to make sure you see what they're doing. See what they're doing, take into account, and do the proper attack. Because if they jab you for 2-1, I mean, you're gonna trade. If they start ducking to try to launch you, obviously you have a mid. If they start sidewalking, you have 1+2. If they start backdashing, you can follow them with some things. So,
all right, well,
but you need to make sure you're covered.
Well, I always ask this question, and some people, they don't really give a shit. But where would you put him on the tier list? I mean, based on what we've talked about, it sounds like he would be like in the high mid range. But I mean, you're the Roger player, the expert. So you tell me what you think.
Some people swear that he's top tier. There is people that swear he's top tier. I'm not sure if he's top tier. I think he's a damn good character. I think he's top mid. I'd probably put him between 10 and 15. Worst case scenario. If played right, very solid character. Can be crazy when he needs to be. Can get the damage when he needs it. Can surprise you at times. Has great Oki. I mean, that's worth so much. I mean, he's not gonna do the big wall standing punching juggles on you or anything like that. But he gets his juggle damage is okay. So, I'd say high mid. High mid's good.
Yeah, I guess that's really, at least in T6. With the exception of a couple of characters, and even then, I think you can make the argument for them. As long as your character can always stay in it. As long as they're never out of the match completely, that's all you can ask. And I think Tekken 6, unlike almost every other Tekken, gives almost every character the ability to stay in the match at all times. Like, there's no matchups that are just so ridiculously not in your favor that you have to really worry about it. So.
Especially with him. I mean, with him, you learn ways around things. I mean, sometimes it's like, man, it's really annoying playing a bot player, those long arms. But you find ways around it. He's got a ton of tools. I mean, it's with experimentation and using the whole move list, you can find ways to kind of trick people into letting you in, almost.
All right, well, that's all I have for the Roger stuff. Any last little tidbits or anything you want to throw out there? Maybe we didn't get to, or there wasn't a good place to throw them in.
I guess I give a couple little shenanigan things for people.
Yeah, absolutely. We love our shenanigans.
Yeah, just for little things that people looking to mess around with. He's got his unblockable back 1+4. If you hit somebody with say a bind ender and you force them to tech rolls, say you do 1+2 and you do I'm not sure that would work actually. Sorry, you do rock roll, you do the down back 3, the rock roll juggle, and the Wells 84. If you do the unblockable and they tech, you will hit them, but they can walk. So not all people know that, but you can actually walk around the unblockable. Nothing crazy, but if people aren't familiar with it, you'll get somebody when they tech. They won't be expecting it, and you'll smack them. Fun moves from back turn. Roger's back turn, like others, you can go to back turn from back 3 or from forward 4. And if you say you do back 3, which hits grounded, you spike somebody with down forward 1 or down up 4 or 3+4 after a bind ender. If you do back 3 You go to back turn, and then you hold back, you go, obviously, you just turn right around. But if you hold down back, he does this really, characters do these really long turnarounds where they, instead of being right in their face, they go backwards. So you go back turn, you do that down back. If they respond with anything, they'll be meaty enough where you can actually do your full crouch down forward 2 juggle and punish a whiff there. And you're pretty much far enough away where they can't do anything to you. So say you do a juggle, you do your bind ender, you spike them way down forward 1, they're at your feet, you do back 3, it hits them grounded, or if they stand up, they block it. So they stood up, they blocked it, you hit down back, you kind of do a long turnaround, they throw out a magic 4, like, I'll get him here, or I'll do a quick jab combo to him in the back. They'll whiff, and you'll do your full crouch down forward 2, and you'll get a nice launch off that. So that's fun. You can do that after the delivery of the pizza throw, too. That's another thing. Hits grounded, a little bit of mix up there, and if they think that they're going to jab you or something like that, then just do that long turnaround and punish them with whiffers. Against Eddie players, stance characters that can't block during stances, rock roll. Rock roll will bind them on the ground. If they get an Eddie player that's, hanging out and relax, not like everybody's hanging out and relax, but if you see situations where an Eddie player likes to hang out and relax, after you say you're up close, I get in certain spots you do 1-2, and they'll block the 1-2 and they'll go into relax and try to crush me or something like that. You do 1-2, go into rock and do your rock roll, and he'll start rolling and he'll bind Eddie right there, or any stance character, Art of Phoenix, things like that, things that people cannot block out of. You'll bind them there. If you're ever back turned, down. Let's see if I can get this guy back turned here, but how much? That does a lot of damage. The string is down 1+2, 1+2, 2. Does 91 damage in the back. It's natural combo in the back.
I love those combos. Yeah, I really do.
We call it the Liza Minnelli.
What was because I remember it's not too common now, but I know that there are still a few characters that can get their entire 10 hits in the back, which is really rough. But
so I don't know. Like if you walk something, they do something silly, you're in the back. You can do the Liza Minnelli, which is I think it's down 1+2, 1+2, 2. And that's down 1+2, 1+2, 2. It's 91 damage guaranteed in their back. So something fun.
The Liza Minnelli, remember that guy.
The Liza Minnelli. And I guess Roger Tech Trap at the wall. If they say you're on the 1-player side, they're on the 2-player side. If you do a juggle, say like 1, 1+2, 1, 2, 3, they hit the wall. You run up and do down forward 1+2, and then you do that binds them. Then you do down forward 4. If they tech down, after down forward 4, you can jump over and do the back turn of 3+4 launcher, and it'll hit them in the back as they stand.
Yeah, I have seen that before. That was a
yeah. So you can do that. If they tech the other way, it's funny. It only works one way. If they tech the other way, then you got to know they're teching the other way and not do that.
Yeah, I remember there was I'm sure that there's still certain situations for it, but I remember like back in the T5 days, Law, if you hit him at the wall, you could do a similar thing where it was sidestep 3+4, but you did, I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. I think it was like 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, and then you do forward 1, and the forward 1 will whiff, but it allows you enough time and puts you at the perfect range to watch which way they're tech rolling, and then you sidestep the opposite way, and then it's guaranteed. So I always love little crazy stuff like that where you're like, oh.
It's just some of like little fun things that they work every once in a while. They tech down, you hit them with that shrimp kick in the back, and you can just do like a 1-2 in the rock roll, and it'll hit in the back combo into while standing 4. So just a little something fun there. But hopefully it's hopefully some good Roger info for people who are interested in them or want to learn to beat them. Or,
yeah, no, that was a ton of notes.
Just want to know.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really thorough.
Yeah, I tried. We got a lot of stuff. The Roger community is really good at Zaibatsu. So shout out to all those guys on the forums there, Mr. No and Paranoia and Gerlanda and Naklam, SMP, Nito who posted a lot of the information. There's a T6 BR Roger Jr. complete thread with tons of information in it, and I think on that thread I had like a huge page of notes where I had every move, and I wrote like my notes for every move down there, like just because I kept going back after a while. I'm like, okay, why do I use this move? And eventually at the end, 6 months ago, I had this huge, just file of notes and notes and notes. So I posted it up there. I think that's on there too. Where it kind of lets, obscure moves gives you ideas of when you can use them when you want to, So a lot of good info there, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. And Second Take 2 Roger needs to be patched. So.
And it's funny because in the last announcement for the podcast, when we did Lee, somebody mentioned how they enjoy most of the podcasts, but some of them are really, really long, and this one is going to be in that same category too. I think we've already hit like the 90-minute mark, so which is not at all. No, we're actually hitting on 2 hours now, but it's not at all abnormal for the podcast to be that long. And I was like, yeah, sorry about the length, but if you want us to be thorough, and even in this particular case, I'm sure we didn't hit every single thing, but that's why you have the written word, that's why you have these big, huge files and lists of stuff, so we're just trying to give you a good overview, really, really good starting point, for people to discuss the character and whatnot, so it's good.
Yeah, I hope it's some for people who want to pick them up, some for people who've been playing them for a while and want to know something maybe, I don't know. Hopefully it's something for everybody. Hopefully it was a lot of information.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing, at least to me, and the reason that I wanted to start this podcast series to begin with was, Tekken is one of those games where you have to put a lot of time into it to be really good. Like, you have to know so much about every character, unlike certain 2D games where everyone's limited to 10 moves. It's not that kind of game. So, but a lot of people don't have certain characters in their area or whatever it may be. And I always thought that it was like a lot easier if you're at work or something. You can just throw this on your MP3 player or whatever, and you just listen to it. Maybe hopefully something will stick. So.
No, it's fun, man. It's good stuff. I know that the Xi one was hilarious with the, because they know how.
Dude, those guys they cracked me up. Dude, in that episode was just ridiculous.
Yeah, but there's some good stuff. I mean, sometimes when you're having trouble with a character, I hate playing against Julia players, but listen to the Julia podcast. It helps.
Yeah.
You pick up things. So hopefully people,
especially
take advantage of the resources.
I'm glad you mentioned that one too, because some episodes are going to be bad, some are going to be good. It's just how it goes. But like the Julia one, especially, that I think that was like our first really, 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 really good one because Antonio, who his name is Rue on the boards, but he came with really, really, really good Julia info, really good strategies, and I think that that episode really, really heated us up and kind of let people know, oh shit, okay, now I can take this different perspective.
That's what people
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a sad news for everyone. I'm sure everyone already knows this, but no Tekken at this Evo. So hope you didn't have plans for Evo because it's not gonna be there. And I'm sorry, but Street Fighter X Tekken is not Tekken. It's just not. It's not going to be. But I blame Fab and Core for that. That's what I blame.
You didn't like the
Bob Fest. Oh, dude, it killed. Oh man, that killed it. I have no doubt that that's why they dropped it because nobody wanted to watch that, and it was just absolutely boring, which is so sad. But
very sad, and I know it killed our buddy Link Massacre. I think he was at my house during the Evo finals, and I think he was about to cry when he found out the top 8. Because anything he doesn't like is standard. He's not a fan of standard. He only plays solid in Tekken 6 because he can't play like it was DR. So he learned to play a little bit more solid. But so
and I know he's doing
shout out to his tournament too.
Since he was on since we did his episode, since then he's actually put up all the info for his tournament, and it sounds like they've already done a few of the qualifier round sort of things. So really interested to see when that actually drops and he does that February 11th. It looks like. So I hope everybody tunes into that because if you're looking for neat, entertaining Tekken, that's what that's going to be. You're not going to see a lot of fucking Steves and Bobs, and you're not going to get that. You're going to get the off-the-wall characters, the Yoshis, and the Zafinas or whatever. I actually don't have no idea if you found a Zafina player, but it's, you're going to get that off-the-wall, crazy, solid play from not so popular characters. So that should be a lot of fun to watch that. It sounds like he already has the streaming stuff taken care of, so that's going to be streamed.
Yeah, he's just got his stuff together all together, and life and gaming and everything. So it's going to be a quality product.
And I can't say enough how big an asset having people like that in the Tekken community is, especially right now, because Tekken for the most part, it's kind of dead. Everybody's moving Marvel, Street Fighter, or even if you were interested in Tekken a little bit, but you never really played it, now you're moving on to Street Fighter X Tekken. So having him with no, commercial backing whatsoever, he's just putting up his own money and trying to create these events. I can't thank him enough, and I know I thanked him when he was on, but, for all you listening, you have to appreciate that. If you don't appreciate that, I feel sad for you.
But that's cool, man. Actually, I got to run. I think my son is waking up.
Oh, there he is. All right,
well,
that's cool. Not a problem. Well, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast and giving us your time. We really appreciate it, and hopefully everyone will enjoy this, unlike the last one. Right, thanks a lot. Have a good one, man. And to everyone out there, thanks a lot for listening.